January 5th, 2010, I'm at the gravesite of Marilyn Monroe in Westwood Village Cemetery. It looks like Marilyn may have gotten a lot of yellow poinsettias and some red poinsettias over the holidays. The bouquet of red roses in the urn on her gravesite are long gone, wilted, and there is one rose by itself with a sprig of baby breath, a champagne label, and lots of lipstick kisses above her name on her gravesite. It's hard to believe it'll be 48 years this August the 5th, 1962, that Marilyn Monroe died, and nobody still knows exactly how, whether it was murder, suicide, accidental, although I think it was probably the latter. I think most people who knew her well think that she just kept taking pills to try to feel better, and until she ultimately passed away without realizing what she was doing. It's hard to believe that she actually wanted to die at that point, because she had so many plans in her life, except that I think most people know that when you get in such a desperate situation that you want to die, I think your plans are irrelevant. Marilyn is buried here at this peaceful and secluded spot in Westwood Village. Her funeral was held here. This is the route that the funeral procession took from the chapel, which is across the way behind those trees. Out here is Natalie Wood, Robert Crane, Merv Griffin, Farrah Fawcett, Natalie Wood, Minnie Riperton, and many other famous celebrities are buried here. Dean Martin is married across the way, and around the corner is Truman Capote, Ava Gabor, Mel Torme, many other famous celebrities have been buried here. I think Marilyn Monroe was the first one, and she was the one who gave Westwood Village Cemetery its initial fame. The cemetery is very secluded, is surrounded by high-rise apartment buildings, many of which were not here when she was buried in 1962. This is the route the procession took from the chapel across the way. Joe DiMaggio, tearful Joe DiMaggio, leading the way. Many people arrived for the funeral who were not allowed to enter. People like the Kennedys, Frank Sinatra. Other people were barred from the funeral by Joe DiMaggio because he felt that they were the element who caused her death in the first place, and he didn't want them near her at the time of her death. It's very secluded, very peaceful. There are more tall buildings near the cemetery, palm trees and buildings. It's actually surrounded on this side by very high concrete type buildings. There are lots of crypts here in this area where Marilyn is buried, and there are lots of graves in the ground in the other small spaces between. The other side there are also lots of crypts. I understand that some of the grave sites hold 2 to 4 people. Anyway, this would be 48 years on this January 5th, 2010. Hard to believe that it almost seems like she's still alive, that she's not actually really dead. And it's also amazing that there are so many blonde actresses through the ages who have come and gone by the hundreds or thousands, and that this one should have caught the attention of the entire universe, and her legend and her fame have grown since the time of her death. So anyway, Happy New Year, Marilyn. And I hope that someday the people who are really interested in your history will get to know and understand the truth of what really happened, because it's one of the great mysteries of Hollywood lore, and in fact one of the great mysteries of the ages. Marilyn Monroe, 1926, 1962 was the year of her death, and this is January the 5th, 2010.